Hi, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be working on a password reset workflow. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and remember to turn on post notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos. We will add a password reset form and toggle it when a button is clicked. Set the ID field and the name field of the email input in the password reset form. Create the Request New Password API action. Import the form. What we will do is, validate if the user email exists in our database. If it exists, we will send the user a password reset link. We are going to use URL parameters to pass along some data with the email. If you are storing the user's email in lowercase, make sure to convert the email input value to lowercase in the validator in order to get accurate result. We also need to do this in the validator for our sign-up API action. Now we will set a key value that we will include in the email. Turn off the outputs for our steps. Now we will proceed to add the send email step.
We are going to add a URL the user can click on in the email. This URL will have two parameters, which are email and key. For now we will direct the user to the index page. If you don't understand how I came up with the URL, I will add a link in the description for further reading on the topic. Pay attention to it. You will be using it a lot in future projects. We would later retrieve the parameters on the page. Here is a brief overview of what we are trying to do. I will add the link to the description. Add a forgot password button in the login form, and make it toggle the reset password form. Make the form a Server Connect form, choose the Request New Password API action, show a notification when the email has been sent successfully. Awesome! If you observed the URL, you will notice the URL parameters we added in the backend and their values. Now we will add the password reset page, and we will rewrite the password reset URL as we don't intend to use the index page as the password reset page. In order for us to be able to use the URL parameters on our page, we will need to add a query manager element on the layout page for the page we intend to use the URL parameters on. Make sure the name of the parameters match. Add the password update form on the page. We added 4 inputs to the form. We will use 2 of the input to get the URL parameters. We will use the other 2 inputs to collect the user new password. Now we are going to bind the email and key inputs to the email and key we set in the query manager in the main layout page. Remember, the value will be coming from the URL. You are seeing a separate query that contains the email and the key we set in a separate query manager with ID URL parameters. That's because we added the query manager manually. They are still the same and will work the same. In another video, I will show you how to use the default query manager in App Connect. Now we need to update the URL the user will click on in the email they receive to the password reset page URL. Awesome! Now we are getting the values from the URL parameters. Now we will start working on the password reset API. What we will do is validate the user email, then query the user email and password, then we will recreate the key we sent in the URL parameter and check if it matches the key from the update user form key input with a condition step. If it matches, we will update the user password. If it doesn't match, we will send an error response to the user. Make sure you use the same encryption algorithm and salt before you compare. When you update the user password, make sure you use the same encryption algorithm you used when signing them up. Make the form a server connect form, and choose the API action we just created. Show a notification when the key from the URL is wrong, or redirect the user to another page if everything is okay. You can add a login step in the API action and log the user in immediately, or redirect them to the login page. I added a login step in the background. I am going to remove it now, as I intend to redirect the user to the login page and make them log in again. Awesome, now our user can log in again with their new password. You can proceed to hide the key field and the email field now, as we don't need to show them to our users. If you are just joining us, watch the full playlist to understand what I didn't fully cover, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next video.